Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Let me tell you something. Keyshawn Davis is going to be facing Jamaine Ortiz. And I believe they are the co-main to Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez. Big fight card taking place on January 31st. Let me just say this, right? Because in this video, I'm going to talk about Keyshawn and Jamaine, but also Teofimo Lopez and Shakur. Keyshawn is one, at least he was, but I don't want to be disrespectful towards a guy and say it like, he's no longer a threat when it comes to, well, he's no longer at 135, but at 140 or any division. But I'll say this. He's one of the fastest rising stars in boxing. He was looking really, really good when he was working with Bomac. Every fight, it was very noticeable. Every fight he got better. Every fight he was doing things that he wasn't doing before, and dominating. And we sat back in amazement watching Keyshawn. We're like, he's next. Like, for real. I started saying, I was like, he's next up. You can just see there's something special about him. But I don't know if I can still say all those things because he's no longer with Team Bomac. He had a bit of a hiatus, made some mistakes in his fight with the fight they were trying to make with Edwin De Los Santos during fight week, missing weight, the fight not happening. It was pretty bad. Now he has a new team, and I don't know if he's still one of the fastest rising stars in boxing, but he has the name, and his official record shows a fighter with elite reflexes, clean fundamentals, and the kind of speed that forces opponents to fight on his terms. Now, his strengths include quick combinations, excellent defense, and the ability to outmaneuver slower fighters. This is all true. In every fight, he's always looked like the guy who had the upper hand. Even when things got a little bit competitive, a bit sticky, he got hit with a couple clean shots. He just showed that he just had more professional mileage, more eliteness, and he just had more levels than many expected at this point in his career. Now, don't forget, he's a silver medalist. He lost the gold medal round when he faced off against Andy Cruz. So let's not act like Keyshawn Davis isn't a great fighter. He is. But we're going to see just how great he is when he gets in the ring with Jamaine Ortiz. Because Ortiz, in contrast, is known for discipline, movement, unpredictability. He's not the most physically imposing fighter, but he fights smart, uses angles well, and sticks to the fundamentals that wear on opponents over time. Just me watching Ortiz, I see that he does have some strengths. If you remember when he fought Teofimo Lopez, the boxing IQ showed up big time. And he was able to get off, not really sustain consistency of his attacks. But he can box, he can move, he can make you miss. He does have patience and ability to stick to the game plan. If Keyshawn is in there chasing after him and trying to knock him out, I think that's all bad for Keyshawn, because I think Jamaine learned from that Teofimo fight that he's got to let his hands go more than what he did. And I think if he would have thrown 15 more punches around, I think he would have beat Teo. But then 15 more punches maybe gives Teo an opportunity to land something that really shouldn't have got there in the first place. But when it comes to his weakness, I keep hearing people talk about he lacks flash and single punch knockout power, meaning he needs to outbox to win rounds consistently. I don't know if I agree with all that, but I do think he has like that Paulie Malignaggi type power, that Clarissa Shields type power. It's enough to get a little bit of respect, but they ain't knocking anybody out necessarily. You know what I'm saying? So if I break all this down, Davis, his opportunity is to land quick, explosive shots before Ortiz can find the distance. Bottom line, Davis got to come in there and make the shit a fight. Can't sit back and chicken peck, tickle each other and coochie coo. That plays to Ortiz's advantage. The threat is that Ortiz has the discipline to extend this fight and turn it into a long technical night, robbing Davis of momentum. I think that's what Ortiz is going to do. And I do think Ortiz will let his hands go more than what he did against Teofimo. And I think he can have more success. But then some people will sit here and want to have an argument about who's the better fighter. Is Teo better than Keyshawn, or is Keyshawn better than Teo? I think you look at accomplishments, it's kind of hard to go against Teofimo as far as who's the better fighter. But I do think Ortiz will be able to do more to Keyshawn than he was able to do to Teofimo. That's just my opinion. And I think he'll be able to turn the fight to a long technical night. The question is, does Keyshawn catch up to him? So for Ortiz, his opportunity is to frustrate Davis with lateral movement and force mistakes. The same movement that even Bomac said would have been a problem for them had they faced Keith Thurman. The lateral movement, the explosiveness from Keith Thurman. Now with Ortiz, he has the lateral movement, but he does that to force you to make mistakes, but he doesn't have the explosiveness to capitalize. And I just think his threat is being too predictable, not making enough impact. The favorite in this fight is obviously Davis, primarily due to superior speed and youth. But if Ortiz can make this a tactical and methodical scrap, he could steal rounds quietly and go on to win the fight. But expect Davis to pressure early, show combinations, and ultimately win a clear decision. Unless Ortiz lands something dramatic, which I don't know if he can do that. But that's why you got to sit back and watch the fight now. As far as the main event, everybody's watching Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson. Everybody's watching them, man. Both fighters enter with strong resumes, unique narratives, styles that contrastingly define modern elite boxing, man. Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez. You got to, first of all, understand their records and background. Shakur, no question about his defense, an elite technician. In the Olympics, picked up a silver medal. Undefeated, brilliant defensive skills and counterpunching. He's known for speed, IQ, ring generalship, ability to frustrate elite fighters with precision. And bottom line is, he's a guy who's going to win by any means necessary. He's going to do whatever he has to win that fight. Now for Teofimo Lopez, there was a time where we all saw him as hard-hitting, physically powerful, with heavy hands, shocked the world by beating Lomachenko, Coe. So he's known for power, aggression, explosiveness, and ability to stop opponents suddenly. But he hasn't really shown us all of that since he got up to 140. Why? I don't know. Does he still have the ability to hit you and hurt you? Yeah, but not like what he did to Coe and the fighter before that. What he did to Coe was absolutely, impressive. But when you move beyond that, you got to really look at both of these fighters for who they are and what they are. The strengths, Shakur Stevenson's strengths are elite movement, defensive mastery, and pattern recognition. He rarely gets hit cleanly, and when he does, his balance allows recovery. His punch selection is surgical. He finds holes, exploits them, and frustrates fighters who rely on brute force. Now when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, his strengths are power and confidence. He punches with intent, always looking for damage. When he lands, the impact changes momentum instantly, and his athleticism supports heavy pressure. Now, everybody has their strengths, and they like to talk about their strengths, but nobody really talks about the weaknesses. Now, when it comes to Shakur, in the mind of some fans, when it comes to his weaknesses, they just say, he lacks fight-ending power. There are many people who say, you spar Shakur Stevenson, you'll come out thinking something different. They say he's much stronger than they thought. That he was much stronger than they thought, and he has more power than what they thought. So it makes you wonder if he just kind of prioritizes when he wants to throw hard shots or when he just wants to throw the shots that are fast and land, so he can just make sure he's scoring and outpointing opponents and being under control instead of really taking chances and trying to go for a knockout. But I'll say it doesn't make him lesser than any fighter because he's not trying to go for knockouts. It just makes him smart. But against a power puncher, it's going to require Teofimo to stay very disciplined. And for Lopez, his weakness, for me, man, he just has, like he'll have a breakdown in the ring, man. Inconsistency under elite pressure. But mentally, he just seems like he'll crumble. Against top competition who refuse to break the rhythm, Lopez historically struggles when fights don't go his way early. He will start to have a breakdown in the ring, getting upset, complaining, instead of making adjustments and going to plan B, C, and D. If he doesn't land a big shot early, the thing with Teofimo is like he gets frustrated. And we all know with boxing, man, if you're not able to land your signature shots, you got to make adjustments. And if you don't know what to do and your team can't help you, then your ass is in trouble. And I think he's going to be in trouble when he faces off against Shakur Stevenson. Man, you know what? Let me see if I can show y'all something. I'm looking for something here while y'all sit there in the dark. Okay. Oh, how about that? They took it down. I'm going to show you something that I pulled up on these guys, but they took it down, so it's all good. So anyway, those are the weaknesses. I wanted to show y'all something that was going to blow your mind about these guys, but the person who put it up, they took it down. Somebody probably got in his ass and said, hey, don't be posting that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is there's going to be a lot of opportunities in this fight for both guys. Stevenson's opportunities to solidify his place among the greatest technicians. Beating Lopez would answer a question about his ability to handle power punches on big stages. It would cement his legacy as one of the most complete fighters of this generation. There are some people right now who think Shakur Stevenson's defense is better than Mayweather's. To that I say, in the most respectful way, that these people need to hold their horses and stop taking it to the stupid. Ain't no way they're better than his defense is better than Floyd Mayweather's. But he has good defense. He has a different style. And what he does is very effective. And it works very well for him. I'm going to tell you, Shakur Stevenson, for those who feel he's going to lose, this is what I would like to mention. Shakur going up to 140. You got to think about Crawford with him bubbling up multiple weight divisions. Crawford put on functional mass. Devin Haney went up to 147 from 140. Devin Haney put on functional mass. There was an obvious difference in the physique of Devin Haney, the physique of Terrence Crawford when they moved up in weight. You got to understand what functional mass is, what it does for an athlete. And when you put it on the correct way, you come out being just as fast at a heavier weight, but more explosive and more power at the heavier weight. That's what I think that's what I think Shakur Stevenson has done. He kind of took the Crawford blueprint, took it, copied it, and then now he's going to bring that into the ring with Teofimo. And you could see Teofimo in there looking a bit uncomfortable, especially when he looks across the ring and sees Shakur Stevenson, who may physically look bigger than him. And what I'm telling you is some real stuff, because Crawford did it and Haney did it. Professional athletes do it. They put on functional mass to be stronger, more competitive, more explosive, and they still have speed. But for Teofimo Lopez now, can he change the narrative? Losing in big fights have impacted his momentum. Beating Stevenson will make Lopez a dual-dimension star, power, and elite ring IQ. He lost to Cambosos. Then when he faced the guy from, I think his name from Spain. Can't remember his name off the top of my head, but anyway, a lot of people felt that he lost that fight. But the bottom line, when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, he has an opportunity, man, to really get his career back on track. Because beating Shakur Stevenson will be a very, very big deal. So, I just think Stevenson's got to walk out for those threats. Don't overthink. Don't be too cautious. And definitely don't allow Teofimo to turn into El Gordo and start controlling the pace. A fighter like Stevenson has to balance offense and defense without going too passive. You can't be too passive. You gotta have to let your hands go, hold your ground, and do the business. The same way Shakur did against Zepeda. He's gonna have to do that against Teofimo. And for Teofimo Lopez, his threat is just impatience, man. He wants someone to come to him. He wants a fast-paced fight, and he wants to swing wildly early, and he wants to land big. And that's just, I don't see that happening with him against Shakur. Because Teofimo is going to become very predictable, easier to control, and that's where Shakur Stevenson thrives. And he thrives big time right there. So how the fight plays out, I just think the fight's about control versus explosion, man. Stevenson will look to use lateral movement, control range, score behind the jab, frustrate Lopez's rhythm. Lopez will look to cut the ring off, try to land some power shots. Easier said than done. Make Stevenson respect his pressure and force mistakes. But if Stevenson can make this a long technical boxing match, he's going to win. He's going to win. If Lopez can land some big shots early, make Stevenson think twice, disrupt his pattern, the fight can turn to a heat. It could turn the heat up, man. And then all of a sudden, you see that in the fight, it's all about who has the power. And that could be the deciding factor. But again, Shakur may have the most power because, again, that functional mass is dedicated for certain things, and power being one of them. So anyway, this entire card for Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson, all of these fights on this card are crazy. They just kind of blend the style, contrast, narrative intrigue, and career-defining moments. Every fight reflects, in my opinion, a narrative beyond records. The physics of speed versus power, experience versus youth, then that discipline versus aggression. That's what I think we're going to see in all of these fights. But for Shakur and Teofimo, got to give them a lot of respect because this is the kind of fight that would have never happened if Turkey Al-Sheikh didn't get in the picture. You know, when Turkey's in the house, every day's Thanksgiving. And I tell you what, when you're making $9 million a piece, that shit'll make you get in the ring and fight too, won't it? Y'all keep cool, man. I'm in the breeze.